What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week, Justin Davis.
Fresca.
Jared Petty's here.
Howdy.
Sam Claiborne is here.
Hey, listen,
We've got a great show planned for you today. We've got to talk about video game buddies. We've got to talk about video game eyes.
Whoa, literally.
But first, lots of Nintendo news this week. They already announced their new console.
They did.
The big news was that they're partnering with Japanese mobile game developer and publisher DNA to finally bring Nintendo games to smartphones, but they also stressed that they're not abandoning dedicated video game hardware, and to prove it, they said they're already working on their next.
Yeah, they linked those two topics together to make sure people understood that their premium games would come to their consoles and their own hardware, whereas something that I suppose is a form of non-premium game would be coming to iPhone. Now, actually, Iwata did an interview today with Time where he walked that back a little bit and said, "Hey, we want to make premium games, for home consoles, but that doesn't mean our iPhone games are going to be free to play always. They're actually going to be any type of pricing structure possible, and that they're going to just really match that type of game or that type of hardware."
Are we talking about the console first or mobile first?
Let's talk about the console first.
Okay. The NX.
The codename the NX, which some people speculate may stand for a Nintendo crossover.
That's the rumor. So I wished so hard that Iwata would have pulled an Emperor Palpatine and said, "We have a fully armed and operational game console.
Yeah, here it is.
Here it is. It's launching with Zelda. It's got 1080p graphics. It's got all."
Well, they have done things like crazy in the past. It would have been ridiculous timing, but think about the DS announcement, which came to like 3 years into the GBA's lifespan. And yes, that was their third pillar. And they called it the third pillar, and I understand that, but that's because they couldn't say, "Oh, and by the way, we're killing Game Boy."
Well, it was a hedge.
That's why they did that.
They were hoping it would bridge the gap between what the Game Boy was and what the GameCube was.
Well, the third pillar turned out to be kind of garbage. It kind of turned out to be marketing speak, where it was a hedge
like the
against.
GBA fell to the wayside pretty quickly.
Well, because they weren't sure about the DS. That was a big giant risk, so they called it a third pillar in order to, if it was a disaster, they could come out with the GBA 2, and then everything would have been fine.
And yes, there was the Game Boy Micro, which did come out after the DS, and one of the most wonderful handhelds ever. But by and large, once the DS was out, the Game Boy Advance line was effectively on life support, and it didn't last much longer after that. They didn't sell a lot of Game Boy Micros.
But the NX, it's possibly the answer to a struggling Wii U console. The Wii U is not necessarily doing great, and if it's a home console that could do better than the Wii U, they might phase out the Wii U. I don't think they're going to phase out the 3DS as much as they want the Wii U. So if history repeats itself, I would imagine they're aiming to replace the Wii U and not the 3DS.
I mean, it's really hard to say, but even the 3DS is, obviously it's experienced a lot of success, made a lot of money for Nintendo, but it is on its downward, it's selling less now than it was the 12 months previous.
And compared to the DS, it's nothing.
Yeah.
The DS is so immensely popular with hits like Brain Age, and you just, the 3DS has never lived up to that, but it's the most popular handheld console.
Yeah. By a wide margin.
By a wide margin, which means very little against
Besides,
iPhone.
iPhone.
Right.
But is this an acknowledgement then? Are they saying, "Hey, we recognize that it's time to move on," finally and publicly coming out and saying that? I mean, the Wii U's sales problems, are they based on the fact that it's underpowered at this point?
I think they just wanted to put up we're working on hardware against we're working on cell phone games.
I completely agree. I think it's stating the obvious. It's what did they say? We're not even going to hear anything more about that console till next year.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the moment a console comes out, a company's working on the next one.
Yeah.
And so they just want to make sure that they say that out loud to sort of assuage people's fears.
And what a strangely overt bit of messaging to have them come out and say, "Oh, we're producing games for one platform, but by the way, that's really to drive your traffic to another." That's an interesting bit of dancing he had to do there.
I didn't see them spinning it that way.
The stockholders loved it.
I think they did. I think it was well done. But I don't think he came out and said we're going to make crappy cell phone games. Nintendo doesn't want their name on crappy pieces of software.
Did they specifically say that they're making games on smartphones in order to, as a gateway to get people to buy their home consoles?
That was their exact language, is that to push people to the premium consoles, they want people to have a taste of their IP, which means characters and software in general on a wide platform, including mobile, tablet, and PC.
Yeah, that was a segment of their messaging. That was not the complete message, but that was definitely something I implied from reading that.
But they hope that a Kirby Connect 4 game or Match Colors game is going to push people to a Kirby adventure, possibly.
There is precedent for. I mean, consoles have run the gamut from being announced and then being launched right away to being announced years before they were ready. Sony said at one E3, "Hey, we're making a handheld game console," and we didn't see anything about it until 12 months later at the following E3.
Well, the ads for the PlayStation 10 hit in 1999.
Yeah,
right?
my favorite still Sega in '95 with the Saturn, just being like, "Oh, and by the way, it's in stores." They're coming out to do the pricing, and they're like, "Yep, it's out there already."
Yeah, so the Emperor Palpatine thing was a joke. Would have been a gigantic mistake for Nintendo to surprise launch the NX as the Sega Saturn, is any indication.
Iwata described it as a brand new concept, the NX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also as a game console.
So when
not a set-top box that plays TV also or something.
The Wii was a brand new concept.
Yeah.
And, the Wii U is built around this gamepad.
That's all they do now. They're not going to go back to the GameCube.
And maybe that's a good thing. I mean, when Nintendo says a brand new concept, unlike most other companies, I actually believe them. When some people say brand new concept, I get excited. Then I see and I'm like, oh no, that's just marketing speak. When Nintendo says brand new concept, it's probably going to be something we've never seen before.
Yeah, but do they have to do that with every new hardware? Just has to be something totally brand new.
So Iwata's interview with Time, he actually tied that to the core philosophy of Nintendo, is that they don't want to be better at something; they want to be innovative. That's their whole philosophy now. So let me put some positive spin on that for us. It makes the game industry much more fun to cover. Mm-hmm. And if there was just a PlayStation and an Xbox and Nintendo with similar specs, that wouldn't be that fun. So I'm happy they're doing something wacky.
But it would be an Xbox or a PlayStation with Nintendo games on it.
Well, that's a possibility as well.
Which sounds awesome to me.
Yeah, I'm also okay with that universe. But I do like what Sam's saying. I think it's a good point. Nintendo's never really forgotten that they're a toy company. That they're in the business of whimsy and innovation and creating things that we don't necessarily think of as video games in the sense of pop a disc in, grab a controller, and go. That's been great for us. They've had more hits than misses on that. The Wii U has not sold well. There are a lot of problems with the Wii U, but those problems are mostly about bad relationships with my friends over the internet or kind of a slow interface. The games themselves are gold. It's a wonderful way to play video games.
Mm-hmm. My prediction. Going to be a hybrid home and portable console.
I mentioned this yesterday in a talk with Sam.
Did you?
We've probably talked about that before. It just seems they've had such success with their handheld devices. It makes sense to me to sort of merge those two. It's like, imagine a Wii U type system where the gamepad is portable.
Yeah. The Wii U is a step in that direction to begin with. Yeah. So imagine something that is more like, depending on which direction they want to go, is more like a 3DS or an iPad when you're on the go. But then you can come home and play, on a television with a controller. Unified account system, which is where DNA comes in.
I'm surprised we're not there yet with everybody's home systems. Like the Vita should be a full, TV-ready experience. And I just don't understand why it's not.
Well, poll after poll
we're getting there. No, go ahead.
Poll after poll seems to indicate that people play their handheld consoles at home already and have been doing so for several years. People were playing their PSPs and their Vitas, and even to a large extent their DS and XLs at home. So why not? Give it a shot. I like the idea. What
does this mean, if anything, for Zelda on Wii U?
It's coming out on Wii U, and they say it's coming out this year. What's interesting is that Iwata was asked in an interview that whether Shigeru Miyamoto will be working on mobile games, and he said, no, not right now, because he's working on Wii U games that are all coming out this year. And by that, he presumably meant Mario Maker, Star Fox, and Zelda, which are all games that are absolutely all they talk about is how they're coming out this year. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest fact we know about these games. We've seen a little bit of Star Fox, seen a trailer for Zelda and some gameplay. We know what Mario Maker is, but the core thing is that they're coming out this year.
Star Fox still Doki Doki Doki. Just I cannot wait for a new Star Fox game. Please be good.
I had temporarily forgotten about Mario Maker. That looks really fun.
I know. Now they added the Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World stuff.
I want to point out Mario Maker, perfect tablet game.
So maybe that's a good transition point to talk about Nintendo's smartphone plans. Nintendo stock went up 26% yesterday, not long after they made the announcement that they were finally going to bring their IP to smartphones. People have been suggesting they should do this for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I don't think it necessarily needs to dilute anything that they're doing on the Wii U or their next home console or even the 3DS. It's all about, so people are so mad about it. Like if you go on forums or IGN comments or anywhere.
Mad about Nintendo making games?
Oh yeah. You look really surprised by that.
Which is like, what reason do they have to be mad? Like, are they losing anything? Is anything being taken away from them?
I mean, they feel very threatened by mobile gaming and the rise of mobile gaming.
Yeah, watch out.
I think they feel threatened by the way mobile games are delivered. That's a lot of it. You know, with hundreds of mobile games arriving on the App Store every day, if we just consider the iPhone, for example, so many good things get buried by piles and piles of exploitative crap that get dumped on top of them.
But that's never going to be Nintendo's problem.
No, it's not. But I think people are acting in an alarmist manner because of that. They don't want to see their beloved properties diluted in that way. They don't want to see them lost.
So it's two things. It has to do with free-to-play, and it has to do with controls. Controls I'm not worried about at all, because Nintendo, for any faults that company has, poor game design is not one of them, has never been one of them, will hopefully probably never be one of them.
Their goal is to develop software for this hardware. They've already said
that's the one thing that Nintendo does better than anyone is develop software specifically made to take advantage of hardware. And so I don't think we're going to see, I said Mario Maker would be good, but really only the level building, on mobile.
Well, think about this. Nintendo pioneered touch controls and motion controls, which are the only way to put on input in an iPhone. So I think that is what they did that first.
Like a WarioWare game on mobile. Some people said they didn't want Advance Wars or Fire Emblem, but I'm playing a game called Banner Saga right now on iPad. And it's fantastic on mobile.
I finished Banner Saga last night. It's really good. It's so good.
Are you playing it on mobile or on
my iPad?
Yeah. So you can back me up on that, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And think about something like
want to play Advance Wars on their iPad.
Advance Wars, Nintendogs, Tamagotchi Life. These would all work really well. Brain Age, Mario Paint. Mario Paint, and let's not forget the connectivity edge of this. Nintendo's never exactly been great at getting people together over long distances. This could fix that problem. If I have a Mario Paint where I can share my little cartoons and songs with people and have them share them back with me and my friends, that'd be amazing. I'd pay money for that.
So connectivity is a big part of their original pitch on this, and that there's some kind of Club Nintendo replacement that sounds more like an Xbox Live that's supposed to be across every platform. So that's NX, Wii U, 3DS, PC, tablets, and mobile. That's 6 different things.
And that's where
are supposed to have some kind of shared account, which means you can probably buy your full-length Kirby game from your smaller iPhone version.
Well, that's the hope. I mean, and that's where DNA really comes in. Presumably, again, this is all sort of our speculation or how we're kind of trying to fit the puzzle pieces together, and we'll find out more later. But DNA. People are really scared about that partnership because their smartphone games are kind of they make a Transformers card battler, and they're actually not awful, but they're not what core gamers are really looking for, and certainly not the direction they want Nintendo to go. So people saw that DNA partnership and got scared. But the piece that they might not understand is that DNA is a platform company. That's what they do, is they have a single sign-in account. It's basically another version of EA Origin or something like that, but for mobile games. And so for them to leverage that expertise and tie that in with sort of a Nintendo account system that does span across all their home and portable consoles, and DNA is the backbone of that. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, Nintendo shared this slide during the presentation yesterday. It says they plan to jointly develop and operate a new membership service that encompasses smart devices and dedicated video game systems. And you see your tablet, smartphone, and PC on one side, and their new 3-pillar strategy: Nintendo 3DS, Wii U, and the NX. And it's all sort of connected. To me, NX Nintendo crossover.
It's awesome. The more I think about this, the more excited I get, and the more I am not surprised at all that Nintendo shareholders are excited, because think about something like Draw Something.
Yeah.
That was a huge hit 2 years ago, and Nintendo did that on the DS, and obviously they had Mario Paint even earlier than that. And Draw Something was a worldwide phenomenon. They sold their company to Zynga, OMG Pop.
Zynga?
They bought them, they bought the developer for something like $350 million or over $300 million. That could have been Nintendo.
And part of Nintendo's announcement was also to stipulate that, hey, those one-hit wonders are not what we want to be. And one-hit wonders are a real big problem in mobile games right now, right? You get somebody with a hit like that, and then you can't really invest in them because they probably can't simulate that hit again. You know who can, though? Nintendo.
Yeah. And that's
they know this so much better than anybody else.
And that's why the stock went up. I mean, the investors look at this and go, finally, a reliable generator of hit after hit on mobile. That's a safe place to put your money if you're trying to in mobile games.
Think about all the mobile phenomenons that there have been over, whatever. Angry Birds or Cut the rope or go down the road, or even something like Flappy Bird. Every single one of these could have been Nintendo and can be Nintendo in the future.
I hope not Flappy Bird. They wouldn't have done
Flappy Bird practically was.
Flappy Bird. So everybody likes to make fun of Flappy Bird, but I totally played that game and enjoyed it. And it was free. So it's like, how can something that's free that millions of people enjoy ever make anyone mad?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I feel like that's like a micro game. So if that was part of a WarioWare game,
but what if Nintendo did release free micro games?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
What? Like they would make Flappy Bird made a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, like what if they just had a skunkworks group of people that had free reign to make, you know, a new version of Yoshi Touch and Go or something like that that's either free or costs 99 cents, like an experimental Nintendo lab that has the right to do like NES Remix style stuff on the App Store. That's incredibly powerful.
Yep, and we know they're going to do that because they said also we're not porting our games.
Yeah.
So we know they're going to be original mobile games.
I read a prediction from an analyst today. He predicted we will get a Nintendo card battle game this year.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it if it's a good card battle game.
TCG has
got a chubby.
I mean, aside from Pokemon TCG, which is already
people know I love Hearthstone.
Yeah.
If you can get a game that mirrors that level of strategy with Nintendo characters,
Card fighters.
Yeah, launch with Mario characters and have a Zelda expansion, a Metroid expansion.
Super Smash cards. I don't know.
That and also their first mobile games will be out this year. They also confirmed that.
Yeah, I'm sure that they've been working on them for a while.
I want to go back to that Flappy Bird thing because I'm sure people are like howling when they're watching the video because that game got so much crap. But like the idea of that being Nintendo instead, them being the ones that are putting out these free, simple, you know, I like that micro game label. Like I wouldn't run away from that. I would run towards that because that doesn't have to exist at the expense of anything else. You know, HD, gorgeous, beautiful Zelda, and a tiny little free, you know, let's have Yoshi running around in an environment, you know, or a little Nintendog. Neither of those things have to exist at the expense of the other. They can both exist.
They made that point very clearly, is that this is a new revenue stream, to put it in the most dry, boring context. And why that helps is that everybody, if you've been following Nintendo for years, you might always hear, oh, they need third-party support. They need more third-party support. Well, they're not going to get third-party support on the Wii U, and it's struggling on the 3DS. But this is money for them that makes it so they can continue to make their regular games.
It makes
That's what third-party support means. It means that they have a diversified way to make money. Now, they're trying Amiibo also. They got into the toy market.
Yep.
They're trying to produce just sheer income so they can produce their still awesome games. You all need that and want that. That is very important, that Nintendo makes money and is successful, or else they won't make anything.
I would love to have Yoshi Touch and Go on my phone.
Now, so if they want to rip off a bunch of kids, I'm cool with that.
That was the DS launch game where Yoshi moved on his own and you had to draw like paths for him to stay safe.
Okay.
It was a launch title for DS. Yep. And it was on across both screens, and it was just Yoshi falling for a long time. Then at the bottom, you just go to the right. It's a total iPhone game. Now they made it before,
and they released it for like $30.
Yeah.
This being Nintendo, we've been talking about all the ways to do this right. Should we expect some kind of bizarre caveat to be staple to this at the last second? Nintendo has a tendency to do things that don't make a lot of sense to us, particularly when it comes to the way they've marketed the games for the last several years. They're going to sell a boat with a D-pad on it, and you're going to have to put your iPhone in well, that's what I want. I mean,
and it won't work with that.
Is there something like that? I mean, that's the part of this we need to watch out for, is that obviously they're very smart people, but they do some things that are a little, opaque occasionally. I'd like to know what's coming.
But what if Nintendo made a hardware controller to go along with mobile? Like that's a problem that they could maybe solve.
Controllers exist that are pretty decent.
I haven't found one that I want to
They've been pretty explicit in saying they want to work with the hardware and make games for that. That would be a little bit unexpected.
They're a huge multi-billion-dollar company. They're a Japanese company. I wouldn't expect them to, like when I'm, hardcore tablet gamers, expect, I want this to be integrated with Game Center. I want this to be integrated with AirPlay. And I don't necessarily expect Nintendo to play ball with all those standards to start with. I'm also not convinced. Another reason that they might have partnered with DNA is to launch, their own Nintendo App Store. I'm not convinced we're going to see Nintendo games on the Google Play Store or iOS App Store at all. I think they want to circumvent those stores, and not give up the 30% cut.
Can you circumvent the App Store?
You can't circumvent the App Store.
They can try to find a way. They can have their own Nintendo App Store. Is what they can try to do.
That was the first question I had when I heard this was, how's it going to work with Apple? Because Apple is big, both, a lot of decisions made by Nintendo are Japan-centric, which is something I think we tend to forget about. Yeah. But iPhone's also huge in Japan. and they wouldn't want to ignore that market if they didn't have to.
I mean, there's all kinds of ways they could screw this up.
Exactly,
for sure.
and I wonder what their
That's
plan
what
is.
DNA is here to make sure that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, that's the idea.
I also think, I mean, some of their DLC stuff. So Nintendo has already done free to play on the 3DS. Right? So there's already games that have energy mechanics that they run out at the end of the day, and then you can buy more, just like all the stuff that people hate on
Rusty's
iPhone.
Real Deal softball.
And Rusty's Real Deal baseball had DLC that you could haggle with the DLC seller to change the price of it. And if you didn't haggle aggressively enough, you just got charged the higher price.
Yeah, and the Pokemon card game is the one with the energy right now.
It's like
really
kind
funny.
of a fun, that haggling is interesting and fun and cute and Nintendo-y, but it's also like, it's very strange.
Yeah.
Like strange that you just get charged a different price, like than someone else that is more comfortable haggling.
Well, again, it's very Japanese, walking in and just arguing over the price in a store to get it lowered a little bit. That's pretty standard practice.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Nintendo executives have said many times they believe in a blue ocean strategy, meaning they would rather explore new markets than compete in existing crowded markets. So what's surprising about this is that oceans don't get redder than the App Store.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah. There's
Hundreds
blood
of
in the
games
water.
released every day.
Yeah.
So much competition.
I mean, they kind of don't have a choice. That's what this boils down to. Like, I think they're doing the right thing. I think it's exciting from a game design standpoint. Again, can't wait to, like, just stuff on, like, I'm a huge Advance Wars fan, and, like, trading maps online in Advance Wars is, like, a pain. And it doesn't need to be on the App Store. Like, if they do it right, they have an opportunity to really remain relevant for another 100 years.
Yeah.
Or at least another, 10 years, as long as mobile.
Yeah. Mobile and PCs are like, that's like electricity or internet. I mean, it's like they just have to incorporate this into their plans at this point.
It's a big deal. I mean, it's tough to overstate. Nintendo games haven't appeared on non-Nintendo platforms really kind of ever. I mean, there's weird CDI exceptions, but, this is unprecedented.
And Mario teaches typing.
This is actually that's the part that actually makes me feel good about this. The fact that they're going to maintain very careful control over their properties because they've displayed that they care about them over 30 years. This isn't Sonic, who's been adulterated out 100 different ways and 100 different terrible situations. This is Mario and Link and Samus and characters and properties that they have demonstrated something close to compassion and reverence for.
Nintendo's IP is they probably have the second most valuable IP of any company in the world, but after probably Disney.
I think it's fair.
Because Disney bought everybody else. So.
That's true. Disney.
And then when they buy,
Disney's
about
Marvel
buying
and Star
Nintendo,
Wars.
probably.
then when they buy Nintendo,
Wow.
I just blew Jared's mind.
That's the weirdest Kingdom Hearts game ever. I just don't know what to do there.
Continuing on with our Nintendo theme this week, let's check in with the listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Listeners, remember, you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Peter did, who says, greetings from the Netherlands. The Netherlands.
That's hell.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, no. It's just a country in Europe.
That's the Nether Realms.
Oh, right.
Oh, no, that's Mortal Kombat. No, that's the...
Peter has a thought experiment for us.
Ooh.
He says, I was wondering if you guys would rather see a new iteration of Nintendo console hardware, and he actually wrote this in before Nintendo's announcement this week.
Oh.
Would you rather see new Nintendo console hardware or all of your favorite Nintendo games in glorious 1080p on Xbox One and PS4? So, you have to choose. You either get a new Nintendo console or you get Nintendo games on PlayStation and Xbox. What do you choose?
This is what I want or what's good for the universe?
No, what you would choose.
Oh, I want a
those
new
could be the same
Nintendo. I want a new Nintendo console, and I want it to be wrapped up in all their weirdness. For all the problems the Wii U has, and for all the limitations that the DS had, I love the fact that Nintendo engineers its own stuff. We forget that Nintendo is a company with a proud engineering tradition. I mean, the Wii U has maybe a quarter of the power of the PS4 or the Xbox One, but Mario Kart 8. For my mind, is the best looking game of the current generation right now.
You know what would make it even better looking?
What's that?
If it ran on the PS4 or Xbox One.
But I think that Nintendo is very proud of their engineering, and they like those kinds of in-house projects, and I like that they're crazy. I really appreciate the fact that Nintendo's kind of bonkers and sees things through this strange lens. It can be frustrating, and sometimes it's unnecessarily frustrating, but they got every right in the world to want to keep making their own stuff and to believe that the relationship between hardware and software should be very tight, and the people who make hardware and software should work in the same buildings and talk about what they want to accomplish together. I think about the stories of Koji Kondo, who wrote the theme for Super Mario Brothers while he was watching the game go through development. Not after. Most game music's written afterward. He watched the game, he went back, he tried to make music that fit what was happening on the screen, that fit the cadence. He wrote alternate versions of it that he felt didn't fit the cadence as well. He's sitting there while this is being done in a ROM state on what amounts to, machine language programming.
That's not hardware.
No, well, at that stage when you were developing games and you were doing it in assembly, it was awfully close. I mean, you had a very close relationship to the hardware. Plus, Nintendo would upgrade their hardware through their cartridges while developing the software. Things like that aren't possible anymore. I think it's a valid point. I agree that with SMB, you're a little more separated from it, but not much. These are the same people in the same area working toward the same goal to make it happen.
So Jared would pick hardware. Sam?
So I've talked about this on the show before. In darker times, I would have much rather had Nintendo games on a HD console, especially for when Metroid Other M came out. I was like, why are we getting this terrible Metroid game on Wii? Like, I just felt so bad about it. I was like, Retro should be making a Metroid game on anything. Anything would be better than this. I don't feel that way anymore, though, because as I already mentioned actually earlier in the show, I want Nintendo to make new hardware to make our lives interesting.
Yeah.
And the industry interesting, and to keep everybody on their toes and keep people moving forward. Because if they have another hit like the DS or the Wii, it just turns everybody on their head, and everybody copies them. And I just love that. I love that about our industry, that they're the ones that people want to emulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of two minds. I think I agree with Jared that I like sort of that Nintendo crazy, or that Nintendo daring, I guess would be a more generous way to put it. When you can really, really marry innovative, progressive, forward-thinking hardware with software that fully takes advantage of that hardware, you get something that you've never seen or experienced before. And Nintendo is really the only company that seems that interested in delivering on that vision. But at the same time, I'm a bigger fan of Nintendo software than their hardware. I just am. Like, I like their games more than their game consoles. And so I feel like if they were turned loose to really focus all their energy and talents on just developing, incredible AAA software experiences, that game design, that Zelda Metroid game design, in my opinion, is kind of unparalleled in the world. And just say, hey, that hardware, maybe that was kind of a distraction. Maybe just focus on software. So I go either way on it.
Yeah. Well, I agree with Sam that crazy Nintendo consoles definitely make the industry more interesting to cover. When it comes to me just playing games and my preferences, the PlayStation 4 is a pretty traditional gaming console, and that's what I'm happy with. I would be super happy if I could sit down to my PlayStation 4 and play Super Mario 3D World and Mario Galaxy 2 in 1080p.
Yeah, I mean, we're all here talking about games right now because we love games, and we kind of bow out of the console wars. I mean, that's what matters to me in the end, is how great a game is, and whatever's going to bring me that game, I don't really mind.
Yeah, I mean, really, I'm going to buy every console no matter what. So there being 2 instead of 3 saves me, gives me more money in my pocket to buy more games.
Yeah, my only concern is that part of the way they think about their games is from the angle of how they produce them hardware-wise. And I think that if they lost that, I think they'd be fine. They're brilliant game designers.
I have a better example than your Koji Kondo thing.
Oh, yeah, there are many better examples.
No, this is a good one, is that the Wii U was only designed with the Zelda inventory in mind.
Oh, there we are. That's a good point. Yeah. Not zombie.
And I will say the Wind Waker version of that was great, but I'm sure the next Zelda. I mean, I can't really...
Right, though.
Going back to the original
best use
DS.
of the
You're absolutely right. I agree. I haven't seen a better use of it yet. Maybe they'll come up with something.
I know.
Peter from the Netherlands says, I personally would love to see Nintendo go Disney and make millions of yen and dollars and euros with their software. It would be weird not being able to buy a Nintendo console because of their heritage, but we would all get used to the fact that Sega consoles aren't around anymore. We all did get used to that.
Worked out great for them.
Well,
But we got 20 of them in 10 years. So.
Yeah.
And Sega's a very different situation. I mean, when Sega burned out, they were producing the best software they'd ever made at the time the Dreamcast died. They were on the top of their game, but they'd made so many stupid decisions up to that point that their programmers were having to live with.
Yeah.
That when that all fell apart, when they went platform agnostic, the trouble with organization and with teams that they had, the fact they were being acquired by Sammy, all that rolled around to screw things up. I don't think that's going to happen to Nintendo. The
I was just making a joke, Jerry.
Oh no, but I hear this, or I see it in the comments a lot. Like, oh no, they're going to be like Sega and they'd fail. No, not necessarily. Sega was a very different situation where the business got into the software.
I made that joke too, and they are going to be like Sega in that they survive.
Yeah, there's that.
You have to survive. If you don't make that decision, even if you're a bad game developer, you have to make a decision to open up and be on other platforms, and that's what they're doing.
Justin, how do you think this GameScoop fan's name is pronounced?
Yenedo Baloo.
That's a cool name.
He says, I just read through a review of Mario Party 10 while taking my lunch break, and Sam Claiborne wasn't totally thrilled with it.
That's you.
In his summary, he referred to the Candylandization of the game.
Yeah, I invented that term.
And how it will mostly appeal to youngsters, which raises an interesting question about reviews with respect to target audiences. If a game like Mario Party 10 is aimed at younger audiences, should the review curve to accommodate that, even if it isn't the most thrilling thing for the teenage or adult crowd? Movies intended for kids are often reviewed based on their appeal to their intended audience rather than total market appeal.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Does IGN tend to review games based on knowing its audience that frequents the site is a more teenage and grown-up audience? What are your thoughts on reviewing games against intended audience versus the open field / everything for everyone approach?
I love this question. I talked to our reviews editor, Dan Stapleton, about my intended audience for this. We have a specific audience that we write to, and it's the people that we'd like to sit next to on the couch and explain a game to.
Yeah.
That's our intended audience. So I would like to tell you about this game, probably, since considering you're writing into IGN, but not necessarily, a parent to say if this game's safe for their kids. I wouldn't really consider that in a Call of Duty article. Well, it's true. I mean, this is just something that we have to consider. So we have an intended audience to answer that part of the question. The other part is that anything that society produces can be critically weighed on a scale for any audience. So I would never want to have us review kids games because we call them kids games and they're for kids, because there's an incredible, we're in a renaissance of kids movies, unlike there has been since the 80s with Goonies and stuff like that. We're right now with Lego Movie and Pixar movies. These are kids movies in name only, and we shouldn't even call them that. They're Toy Story. They're all wonderful movies that apply to everybody. And Nintendo is the company that makes those games.
Right.
That's Mario Kart. That's Super Mario Brothers.
Mario Kart is a kid's game, and New Super Mario Brothers is a kid's game, and Mario 3D Land is a kid's game. But
Super
they're
Smash
also
Brothers.
and so this expectation that things that are for kids need to be judged on a different scale, I think is kind of insulting to kids. They're like, what
kids are amazing. They want to play something interesting, and their parents, if they want to play with their kids, they don't want to play Candyland.
Yeah.
They want to play something interesting.
Candyland is really bad.
There's a difference.
Super bad.
Hungry Hippo is far superior.
I love the art in Candyland, though.
There's a difference between Pixar movies and like lesser. I don't want to shame anybody else, but like lesser animated movies, right? Like they're made with heart and care and quality and work for a broad spectrum of people on different levels. And lesser movies don't, and video games are the same way. I think it's really dangerous to review things with an intended audience in mind. When I review a product, all I can do is give you my evaluation of how much fun I had.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because otherwise it leads you down a path of like, well, I loved it, but what if who I think this is for won't love it? It's like you can't do that.
Yeah. No, you do try to do them reader service. I mean, you're trying to provide an idea of what your value proposition is, what's there, but you're writing so that they can make up their own minds. You're telling them what you think, and you're being descriptive, but you're not telling them what to do.
I don't think I get into the value proposition either, personally. I wouldn't say, hey, man, this wasn't great, but it was only $5, so
when I said value proposition, my apologies. I'm talking about the ability to go out and spend any money to go get this.
Sure.
I mean, the fact that it's a consumer service.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to indicate you would change your score based on the
But that is like that's a part of this, right? Like there's externalities, like who you think the audience is for and what the price is, that I don't think I don't think should play.
Let me give you an example of when I talk to our reviews editor when I have an issue. This is what came up in Mario Party. It wasn't about the age of the audience. It was about, this is the 10th game in a series. I've been following it since the first game. Do I tell the people that have played the other 9 games about it? Do I tell the people that have only played one before, which is fine? Or do I tell people that have never played Mario Party before about it? The answer is you have to tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
And that's what's really difficult. So when I'm trying to cut down a review in word length, I have to cut out things for certain people that aren't going to understand, what the game is about. Like if I have to describe the game, which we don't like to do in reviews, then you're already, you're leaving out a part of the audience that just wants to hear a description of the game. Yeah. That's why we have video reviews. We want to show people what the game looks like.
Sure.
That's a little behind-the-scenes look at IGN reviews and how we think about them.
IGN behind the scenes.
And then you write it all up, and then Dan takes everything you wrote out.
He's really good. 1,200 words to 400 words, no problem for Dan Stapleton. He keeps the original meeting. That guy is a fantastic editor.
Yeah, he's old school. Absolutely.
Also, you probably get into strange territory if you're a grown adult reviewing a game, but you don't have kids, you don't have a lot of experience with kids. How can you say how do you know what's going to be good for kids?
I mean, that's the other part of it is like, I said give kids more credit because, they want things that are high quality, but kids also like a huge amount of stuff that I just don't understand and don't get. Like, you're getting into trouble if you're trying to presume what another group will be into. The only thing you can do is share your experience.
Yeah, I go back to that thing of being a kid and playing Super Mario Brothers for the first time and running and telling my parents about it, And there's jumps and there's mushrooms and there's turtles and fireballs and stars and fireworks and blocks breaking. To me, that's the best thing in the world. That's nonsense language to parents.
That's how we should review games for kids.
Yeah, totally. I'm good with that.
This email comes from Steve. He says, I have a problem that many gamers run into, particularly as they get older. Gaming still suffers from the stigma of being one of those childish things you're supposed to put away in favor of getting married, getting kids, and that whole illusory notion of getting a life. I like the idea that kids are something you get. Like, I gotta go get my groceries. This weekend I gotta get groceries, I gotta go get some kids.
It's like Link and Zelda 2 when you find the kid in the cave, you just dun 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 over your head.
I had a kid just to check it off the box.
Yep. Steve says,
for one weekend.
I love co-op gaming. But I've reached a point where my friends no longer have the time or inclination to game. I'm in my 40s, and it's pretty hard to make new friends, period, which Justin was just talking about, much less ones that share an interest in playing online video games. I've looked around for resources to help gamers find other gamers, but haven't found much. Do you pros at IGN have any insight or advice, or are you just as stumped as I am?
Yeah, I mean, two things, Steve. First of all, my wife is my co-op partner. She's my life co-op partner, but she's also my video game co-op partner every once in a while. So I guess it's kind of dangerous to conflate the two, but that's like super real, right? Like that's your person that finds someone that's into what you're into and that can help with that. Second thing is just get a job at IGN.
That's where I wanted to go, Steve. We are literally the worst people in the world to ask this question to. We are grotesque man children that play games for a living. So we're surrounded by people who want to play games all the time. We don't have to look nearly as hard.
It is super tough. Making friends as an adult, period. If we leave video games out of it, is just this weird, awkward, terrible thing.
Yeah, it is. It's an odd place. There are, you have meetups. Meetup groups can be really cool. They're internet meetup groups that you can find. They're just people with similar interests and go out and they'll meet in a neutral location where you're not likely to be, harmed in case they're creepy and terrifying. And 40 people that love board games or RPGs or something will show up together. That's a good way. At religious organizations, your church, your mosque, etc., that's a great way to meet new friends.
I think games have matchmaking, right? Mm-hmm. Can't you just play online?
But he wants somebody, he wants to play.
But maybe he wants to chat with them.
He wants to be able to
give him a high five.
Stuff like that. Exactly.
I think there should be a Tinder for platonic friends.
Oh, Platonic.
Platonic.
They always start that way.
That's so smart. The moment I get back to my desk, I'm registering platonic.com.
There you go.
Yeah. Good thing this isn't a live show.
Yeah, it's going to be like you're going to find like a tonic you can drink there to get more playful. Somebody's already bought it.
That like totally so legit. No, but it's like they have all these services for like dating, or like even before there was like Tinder and stuff like that. Plenty of Fish. Like people would date, they'd find dates on Craigslist. Like you put a personal ad on Craigslist or in the paper. Yeah. But like, what if you're just a guy, you're into sports, and you want another guy to be into sports with? And it's like, it's just the worst experience. Like, how are you supposed to?
Yeah.
There should be a service where it's like, look, this isn't weird. I'm just looking for someone to play some Call of Duty with.
Well, if you're looking for several people, the old meetup groups do sort of fill that gap. I mean, they're still out there, and I encourage you to look, just Google Meetup, and that'll help you find some of the groups that do that. But you're right. I mean, it'd be an amazing service, and please go register Platonic. I want to find this. Oh my God.
When we were talking about making friends as an adult, I think all of my friends come from just three sources. I think they're from school.
You did the German three.
Yeah, I always do that. They come from school, they come from work, or they come from like your significant other's group of friends. Like you adopt, they become your friends too. And like that's it. I don't think I have a single friend from anywhere else.
Do you guys like not start conversations with strangers in restaurants?
No.
So hobbies can
maybe that's why we don't have friends.
Like I'm friends with a lot of people through bands, a lot of people through record collecting, a lot of people through arcade collecting, stuff like that. So
yeah, the epiphany that I just had in this moment was, man, it's really hard to make friends. And it's like, Justin, do you like to talk to people? No, I hate it.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I don't have like a huge circle of friends, but I make friends just by speaking to people in the places I go. That sometimes works out.
Never speak to anybody. Just want to keep. Keep to myself.
As for finding friends to play games with, there is a subreddit called Gamer Pals.
Oh,
That seems to be, I know Reddit can be kind of weird, but it seems to be a fairly friendly place, although a lot of the people posting there seem to be younger. They're really in their like 20s.
It ain't no platonic, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Platonic.
Yeah.
It's good. No, not play Sonic though.
No, don't play Sonic.
If you're gonna play Sonic, probably just play Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, Sonic CD, maybe. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, we were talking Sonic.
It's the only good one.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
There's
No,
not a
Sonic
lot.
the Hedgehog is a good game.
Sonic
Sonic the
CD.
Hedgehog. It's
not a
Sonic
great
CD is
game.
the only good Sonic game.
No, it's not, that game's not even that good compared to the other three. From the,
No, Sonic CD is better than
Name
Sonic.
one thing that makes it better.
The soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack
The
is
soundtrack
better.
doesn't count
What do you mean the soundtrack
because the
doesn't
soundtrack
count?
to Sonic is great. Nya, 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 nya. You see-
It sounds like tin running through a Z80. I don't know.
No, it's got the whole time travel mechanic.
Okay, so
It's
there's
really,
a soundtrack
really-
on CD. That's what makes it better.
That's what make Ease is a good game because of the soundtrack.
Okay.
And running into
It's got
things.
So it's
three
equally as
versions
good,
of
but the
each stage,
soundtrack
the
is
past,
better.
present, and future version of each stage. That was a really
Yeah,
smart
that's
mechanic.
too hard to activate.
And they're well-designed stages. Sonic 2's a better game than Sonic.
Sonic 3 has water slides. Let me just drop the mic there.
It's also got that Michael Jackson soundtrack.
Ooh, yeah, it does.
You're not going to weigh in on this? You don't
I
have a
wanted
favorite
to ask,
song?
what do you think about Sonic Spinball?
I
garbage.
don't, if I
Gallon's
can avoid
garbage?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
No,
bad.
Sonic is okay. Sonic 2 is okay. Sonic CD is pretty good.
Sonic Spinball, you bought it new. It was famously made in, I think, 6 months. So it just was not a well-made
Man,
game.
Sonic is one of those series. Sonic has never been good, and they tricked us into thinking it was good for like a decade.
Sonic was.
I don't have a problem with Sonic
Sure,
the Hedgehog. I like the flow of it. I like the feel. I like the colors. I like the graphics. I like the sound. I think that game's
Red
that
and
game
the
is
spikes that
interesting.
you get no idea.
I
No
think-
way you could know they were there.
But when I
Super
compare
far.
it to Super Mario World, it's night
mean,
and
that's
day.
not even a
that's-
comparison.
Not
it's-
even a
yeah.
comparison.
So that doesn't mean it's a terrible game though.
It was
I like a
pretty-
lot of bad games too though.
It was
It was
pretty.
very
It had
fast,
good.
and
It
that
had
tricked
good.
people into
yeah.
thinking it was good.
And it was pretty, and the music was good, and it
really
had simple, comprehensible controls. Yeah, it's a very
It's like
pretty
any
game.
brawler, like Golden Axe or X-Men or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those games aren't good, but they were super advanced and pretty at the time.
That's true.
And it made everybody love them.
The
here's
Genesis,
why
they were so much flashier than the SNES in that era.
But here's why I don't think it's good: is that you have these big, expansive stages, and there's not.
David's like, please stop talking.
and there's
about
not any reason to go anywhere in them.
That's right.
I mean, Super Mario
the
World.
single
there's-
reason there's no exploration in Sonic, and that's what I like to do in
No,
video
there
games.
is exploration. It's really difficult to do.
and pointless. There's nothing
Yeah.
to find when you explore.
You'll get 10 rings or the speed boots.
Yeah, but hey, it kind of made people go back and be like, oh, speed runs are a thing. Because Sonic was about getting to, you could also play Sonic by getting to the end of the level without stopping as fast as possible. I don't think people thought about games that way before.
That's a good
There
point.
are-
And you asked why CD was good. The reason CD is good is because
had to
there's
think about it
actually
this
a
whole
reason to explore. That's the difference between Sonic 2 versus CD.
It's so-
is that
it's so
you
hard
still
to
have
explore.
exploratory levels, but at least there's a reason to go explore.
There are Sonic Defenders, and I.
There was a game called
I think it probably is a
Is
game.
that true? Is that really?
think so.
Starring several of his crappy friends, I imagine. But-
A lot
Let's
of
talk about Defender.
a lot of the Sonic Defenders I encounter seem to be British.
Because Genesis was
It seems
much
like
more popular
It
in
seems
Europe
like
than
Sonic was a
Nintendo
bigger deal over in.
They
Europe,
also
right?
think like Chucky
The Mega
Egg is a
Drive.
good game or whatever that thing's called. So there's that too. Is it Chucky Egg? I can't
There's
remember.
that weird egg game.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Billy Hatcher?
No,
That was a 2D.
Night Lore.
Are you talking about Flicky?
Oh no, Flicky's different. Night Lore's okay. Jetpack's good.
Are you talking about Chicken Shift?
Damon, the show's gone off the rails.
I can keep on
Get
talking about
back.
chicken
Yeah,
games.
we
Would you
can
like me to
talk
keep
about
throwing them
that,
out?
Okay, before we go this week, we're going to play a game.
Oh, is it Chucky Egg? Is that even a game?
We're going to play a game called Can You Recognize These Famous Video Game Characters by Their Eyes?
You never came up with a better name for it than this?
That's good.
What? Do you have a better name for it?
No.
Platonic.
How about Identify?
Yeah,
Oh,
Boom.
it's pretty good.
that's why it's the managing editor.
Viewers, play at home. Play with us at home. Let's start with an easy one.
Computer.
Enhance.
On screen.
Do these eyes belong to?
Luigi.
I believe that would be. I think that's
That
actually
is Mario.
That's Mario. Yeah.
You can't tell though. It could be Luigi.
This one's definitely Mario.
It's a little pudgier.
That was the easy.
That too.
That was the easy one.
Oh, okay.
What if it was Luigi?
What if it were Louis? The eyes would be creepier.
Okay. There'd be a reflection of a ghost in the
yeah,
eyes.
exactly.
It's the
It's
right
like-
answer.
Pull this up. Okay. This
being
one,
murdered.
Probably
in the
arrow.
eyes.
You can probably just hit arrow.
this
over.
one is also
Okay.
on the easy side.
On the easy side. Yeah, that's Pac-Man's little brother Kenny right there.
That is Pikachu.
Yeah, that would be the lightning rat
When
himself.
we get to
It's weird just seeing his eyes with the nose, though, or hers. I don't know if Pikachu's a male or female in this instance.
Yeah.
I guess is Pikachu. Wait.
They have both male and female types.
What?
Yeah, Pokemon, like, because they breed. I mean, they...
Oh, I guess that's true. I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
But are they all? Is Pikachu the name of the character or the name of the Pokemon?
I think Pikachu in the series is a male Pikachu that's been unnamed.
I want to make a Pokeballs
Because
joke so
Ash is
bad right now.
abusive, and he didn't name his. It's like having a dog named Dog.
Yeah, like in Fallout.
Yeah.
okay.
All right, here we go.
Now I'll enlarge it for you, but it's gonna get pixelated.
Okay,
but
this is
so
enhanced.
whose eyes are these?
Tom
Right
Cruise.
there. Is that Drake?
No,
Everybody make a guess.
I'm going to say Nathan Drake.
I don't know.
Can't even guess.
Assassin's Creed person.
Here.
I don't know their names.
Computer, bring down our B-roll. I'll bring up the actual image. Okay, that is. Find the actual.
This is exciting. It's riveting.
Yeah, that is. Aiden from Aiden Pierce
That jerk.
Okay.
All right.
from Watch Dogs.
I knew it was a Ubisoft
He's
game.
so memorable.
Yeah,
Well-
that's a character that I identified with.
Yeah.
I liked his coat.
Ah, look at there.
They should have sold that coat. Did Ubisoft like sell that coat in their store?
I don't know.
That's
No idea.
It's a good coat.
Whose eyes are these?
Crowbar Jesus.
Yeah, Crowbar Jesus.
Whoops.
Ford and Greenman.
Yeah.
Yes,
good.
those are Gordon
like that
Freeman's. Those are Gordon Freeman's eyes. The glasses are a dead giveaway.
And the green too.
Moving on.
Color
We need to
salvation.
figure out a faster way to flip through all
I was
these.
gonna say, are you sure you can't
You
just
can make a
arrow
little
over?
gallery and you arrow through them.
No, arrow
Really?
doesn't do
That's weird,
anything.
It doesn't work.
What do we got here?
Leon Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's really
Yeah.
good.
That was
I didn't
good.
think you would get this one.
No, it's the hair.
It's the hair,
It's
yeah.
the hair. Yeah.
Gutty gum. That's what he says.
Yeah, that one is obviously.
Help me, Leon.
Such a good game, but such a bad daughter.
How about these guys?
Oh, that'd be Link, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks very,
From what era?
very girly.
Oh, from what era? I think it's Twilight Princess right there.
Yeah, it could be Twilight
Skyward.
Princess, yeah.
Is it Skyward?
Sword.
Or maybe
Skyward?
maybe that's just the Smash one actually.
Here we go.
Kind of in between.
Here we go. This is a good one. This is a good one. Let's bring this up here. Whoops. All right.
What you got here?
How about these?
Oh, that looks familiar. Why? Oh, this hurts now. Riveting television here, folks. I was trying to figure out what eyes are.
Is it Sully?
Sully, no.
I'm gonna say the guy from Tekken.
Tekken. The guy from Tekken.
Yeah, the old guy.
The kangaroo?
Say,
the kangaroo.
The kangaroo from Tekken.
Eddie Gordo.
yeah, Samus. That's my guess.
This one is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Santa Claus?
Pagan
Oh, Pagan
Wow.
Man. Okay.
Pagan Man from Far Cry 4.
Never would have gotten that.
I don't know his name.
Yeah. Crab Rangoon guy.
Crab Rangoon guy, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Just a couple more here.
It's a great game, Damon.
Yeah, this is. I kind of want to do this all day.
This one should be. This one. Well, I guess it
stay
all
after
depends
filming
on
and do this some more.
how much you like the game.
I like the game a lot. Oh, Scorpion.
Yep. Good call. Would you have gotten that one?
Yeah.
I've been seeing that
I
face
wouldn't have.
like 70 times a week for the last 6
Jared's
months.
been doing a lot of wiki work for Mortal Kombat.
There's
so.
been a little bit of Mortal Kombat in my life lately.
Yeah. From Mortal Kombat. Two more.
Get over here.
Whose eyes are these?
that's from GTA
That's
5.
Trevor, yeah.
Yeah, those are Trevor's eyes from GTA 5.
Yeah, very
The
good.
art.
It's hard to tell. The style gives it away, though, right?
Yeah,
The
for sure.
the art, yeah.
All right, one more.
Final set of eyes.
I thought this was gonna be. I thought I was gonna get like none of them.
Oh. Oh my.
Um,
Oh my. No, I don't have this one.
I'm
Oh,
not-
the like the
trying to
freckles.
think. That
The freckles
scar-
should be a
the
hint,
scar is
the scar
helping me.
and
Yeah.
nope,
like it's
I don't
right
know
on
what
the
this
tip
is.
of my brain.
All right.
People are screaming at their screens right now, like, you fools.
That one
It's
is
obviously.
I want to do this with
Voss from Far Cry
With crazy eyes.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
heavily Ubisoft weighted.
Yeah.
I want to do this with 8-bit eyes.
Those would actually that might be better because you can blow them up.
Well, Justin did a
pixels.
feature once, which was just really close-up faces from 8-bit characters.
Oh, neat.
We actually never ran that. It's another one that's in the archive.
That's a good one.
No kidding.
Yeah.
We've all done over-the-shoulder tests with that one so much.
Yeah, I know.
One day you should just hit that publish archive button, Justin. Just hit the roll with all of them.
There's probably literally like a dozen, like pretty meaty articles that we're just waiting to pull the trigger on.
Slow news day, Justin.
That's like
actually, yeah.
That's like the funniest episode. Like, that's literally my job is to fill our slow news days.
Yeah. Before we go, hypothetically, I already asked Justin. Already wait on this. We've been asking everyone.
Okay. We got.
What amount of money would it take for you to eat a live tarantula the size of your hand?
What amount of money?
Yeah.
I'm really broke right now, so it would not take a lot.
It's furry. It's got meaty, like a meaty tarantula.
Yeah. Can I cook it?
No, it's got to be. It's got to be alive when you put it
going into your mouth.
I ate a shrimp that way once. Yeah.
Jared.
Well, we're talking about eating live spiders at this point.
First of all, guess who said that?
Who said what? Okay. I think for right now, I do it for $100K.
$100,000.
Yeah, I think that's all you'd have to offer me to get me to do live
That's what you said originally, right?
I said $1 million.
$1 million.
No, I come cheap right now. I need money. So.
I guess 800,000.
800,000. That's
So
pretty specific.
does it influence you that you're a vegetarian?
Yeah, I eat some arthropods sometimes, though.
Oh, do you?
From the ocean.
Yeah. So you need a sea spider.
Yeah.
I think I could. I'm terrified of
Lobsters
spiders.
are just sea cockroaches. Let's
How do you
be
approach
honest.
it? Do you go front first or?
Oh no, butt first, definitely.
Butt
I
first.
can't eat that
What?
face first. Oh yeah, because if
But then you might get a second bite of him squirming all around.
No, because that sucker ain't moving. I'm nailing its head down as I bite. I mean, I'm holding
can't
it down.
do that. You can't
Well, no,
do
wait a minute. I'm holding it, right? I got this
Yeah,
thing.
you
Okay, so
can't
tarantula
nail it.
bites have been described to me by people who've been bitten by them as being like hit by a hammer where you're bitten.
It's not.
Is it not that bad? Have you been
Well,
bitten?
well, let me just point out that also the hair on a
Yeah.
tarantula is each one of them is used as a weapon by the tarantula.
That can be
So
problematic.
it's not going to matter what the bite is.
That's true. So this is just a no-win proposition.
Yeah.
I've thought about this a lot. And I originally thought it would I envisioned myself just like sitting and cringing and like biting it. What I decided I need to do is like psych myself up and get into like barbarian mode.
Yeah, totally.
I need to like scream at the
Berserker.
top, like berserker mode. I need to scream at the top of my lungs and just shout and just maybe like even sprint while I'm doing it and just shove them in
and
my
make
mouth.
Turn yourself into a Dragon Ball Z episode.
My theory about the money side of it is make that life changing for you. So like
Yeah.
if you can't buy a house in San Francisco for as much as your life changing experience is going to be, then it's not worth it.
I think if you psych
Well, you
yourself up
never
into
gave your
berserker
number.
mode,
It would need to be a life-changing amount of money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the minimum for me.
How many
Yeah.
generations of Hatfields would have to be taken care of?
Yeah. It sounds pretty
Just this
terrible.
one.
What's the genesis of this question? I'm curious.
Beer.
Yeah,
Beer.
probably
Okay,
beer.
beer.
Yeah.
Well, maybe heavy narcotics might help with consuming the spider. Maybe
I was
that's a good
wondering
way
that
to go.
too, yeah,
Yeah.
You
maybe.
gotta be sober.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, you have to be sober? Really? While you do it? So you're just psyching
Well,
yourself up.
but
You have to pretend to be sober. There'd be no way to tell.
yeah. So I'm sure someone in the world has done this. I mean, there's got to be some ritual
Yeah, it
somewhere.
happens on
where-
Fear Factor every single week.
They eat live tarantulas?
Yeah,
on
they
Fear
eat all
Factor?
kinds of stuff live.
I don't.
Is that
Is that
still a
show
show?
on?
Is it still a
No,
show?
it got canceled.
It got
Oh,
canceled
okay.
after we'll leave it alone.
But in the Claiborne continuity, it remains on the air forever.
No, I'm just saying.
There's a thing they do.
On a weekly show, they've eaten stuff like this live,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and animals were harmed.
Viewers, listeners, let us know how much money it would take for you to eat a live tarantula.
And if it's
They eat them?
$10, you get to come on Game Scoop and do it.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
It's not true.
No, we won't actually allow
The
that.
email is gamescoop@ign.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter @DameZero. Very interested to hear your. We've gotten a huge, very wide range
See-
of. One guy was like $10,000.
Yeah.
He would do it. I was like, what?
You're going to get tarantulas at a live Game Scoop event now.
Yeah,
and
that-
you're going to have to deal with that. Jamie, you want to eat this?
The GameScoop was in the Arachnid Theater.
Oh,
at
there you
PAX
go.
East, so. Anyway, that's all the scoops we have for you this week. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Jared. Thank you,
you.
Sam.
Thank you.
My name is Damon. This is IGN Game Scoop, and we're out.
Scoop.